Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and today's video is going to be my top reads of 2024. Now, I kind of debated on whether or not I wanted to make this video because I did earlier in the year make a favorite books that I had read so far. And not a lot of them have changed, to be honest. And quite a lot of these books that I have on the list, I have talked about at length on my channel. And so I didn't want to be repetitive, but I also love putting this video out and I love watching this video. So I'm going to try rapid fire through these and hope that I can get through them. I am filming this. It's almost 6 o'clock at night, which is way later than I normally ever film. I've got dinner in the crock pot that I can smell and I want to get this out. Not that I want to rush through these books, but also I don't want to keep you here and I don't want to keep myself here. So I do have some honorable mentions. These are going to be in no particular order. I'm just going to pick them up however I get them off the pile. So the first one that I have is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is a fantasy romance. I would say this is like a high fantasy romance. There's a lot that goes on in here where you're like, am I following this correctly? The writing is absolutely stunning. It's very descriptive, very flowery, purple prose. And I really enjoyed that. Sometimes I'm not a fan of that style of writing. It depends on the genre of the book. And I think a fantasy romance, and especially this story, it went so well together. I'm very much anticipating book 2. So this book is following Con and Rave, and the way that these two find each other and the way that Rave has to face a lot of things in this book, a lot of things that she really does not want to. She's gone through a lot and she's going to continue going through a lot because the reveal at the end of this book. But Con, this man, he was so patient with her and I really enjoyed their romance. I enjoyed the slow burn of their romance and I'm just really looking forward to book 2 and continuing their story and seeing what the heck is going to go on in this world. So I did really love this. I know this is probably going to be on a lot of people's favorites of the year, and for good reason, because I did really like it. I know some other people have commented on my videos and said that they didn't enjoy it, and that's fair. It's definitely, I mean, I could see people really not liking it, but it worked for me. And the next book that I want to mention is Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. In this book, we are following Reese and Sadie. This is a college sports romance. So we have a hockey player and a figure skater. And these two form sort of an unlikely friendship, and they're both dealing with a lot. Sadie is, bless her heart, she basically is taking care of her siblings, and she is trying to better herself, but also she has these 2 kids who are pretty much relying on her. Like, she doesn't have a normal, college experience, a normal sort of fun life that she can live. And Reese is wealthy. His family cares a lot about him. And they just come from like 2 different worlds. But the way that Reese cares for her so much, and then when she meets Reese's family, the way that they take her in and the way that they help her with her siblings, it was like it was never an issue. It was never an issue. Like, we're here to help you. We want you to do good. We want you to be a part of our lives. This was stunning. I really, really enjoyed this book. And this is another one where I'm very much looking forward to book 2. Okay, then we have Starting Line by my girl McKay Marie. I know, yes, McKay is a dear friend to me, but this book, it deserves to be on here. She really knocked it out of the park with this book. TJ and Caleb, oh my God. There are still scenes in here that I just remember vividly. So freaking good. This is a swimmer and a gymnast following them through the Olympics and them becoming friends and falling in love. And oh my gosh, Caleb, we love him. We love him. He beat Hayden out for me for favorite McKay Marie heroes. Caleb he's cemented my #1 spot. I don't know if she can write a hero that's going to knock him out, but we'll see. We will see. If you have not read Starting Line, please please do so. So the last honorable mention is Learn Your Lesson by Candy Steiner. This is book 3 in the Kings of the Ice series. Oh my gosh. This to me felt like reading the old Candy Steiner. I had been having some issues with some of her newer releases where it just didn't feel like the angst and the tension that she usually wrote in her books and that I'm used to from her. This one, oh my gosh. Will and Chloe, Daddy P, I love them. This is a sort of, well, not sort of, it's a grumpy sunshine, single father. He is a goalie and he's got a daughter, Ava, and he is just very, very locked up. And because of that, his daughter is also very sort of standoffish. She's very just, she keeps to herself. And Chloe comes in, she is her teacher, but then she also becomes the live-in nanny. And the way that she just brings these two to life, and she brings so much joy and happiness into their lives again, it was adorable. And then the romance, there's some lessons being taught in here. I just loved it. I loved it so much. So now we're gonna get into my top, I believe, 7 books. This is such a weird number, but it is what it is, okay? This is my favorite. I wasn't gonna try to fit in a bunch of books to make it like a top 10 or a top 8. So you've got a top 7, okay? So coming in at number 7, we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is one that I don't want to spend too much time on because this is probably going to be in a lot of people's favorites of the year for good reason. Abby Jimenez, every book that I read from her, like her new releases, they just keep getting better and better and better. And this one, we're following Justin and Emma. They meet in a very unconventional way where Justin thinks that he is cursed and that every woman that he dates and breaks up with, they then go on to meet their soulmate. And Emma's friend is reading, I think it's a Reddit thread, and something very similar happens to Emma. And so they message each other, or Emma decides to message him, and they think, oh, we're just going to break this curse. Like, we'll date and then we'll break up. And the next people that we date, that'll be the one. Well, things don't go that way. They end up finding the one in each other, what they've been looking for all along. And again, this romance was so beautiful. And Justin, the things that he is going through, it's like real life problems in here and just like gut-wrenching situations. Very realistic. Read it if you haven't. Just read it. Now, this book I know will not be for everyone, but man, was it for me, and man, did I fly through this book. The Surrogate by Penelope Ward. We are following Abby and Sigmund, he goes by Sig. Sig is a widower, and before his wife passed, she decided she wanted to freeze some of her eggs. That way, if Sig ever wanted to, he could have a baby. And at the beginning of this book, his late wife's parents come to him and say, we want to, get her eggs, and we want to see if someone will be a surrogate. We want this part of her. And at first Sig is like, I don't think I want to do this. This is not something that I want. I don't think I'm ready for it. And then Abby comes along and she decides out of the goodness of her heart that she is going to be the surrogate. So she is carrying Sig and his his late wife's child. And she flies over to England to meet him and spend some time with him because he just cannot wrap his head around the fact that someone is going to do something like this and sacrifice themselves and their body for someone else just out of the goodness of their own heart. He's like, you have got to be crazy. What kind of woman are you? So they meet, and Sig is very reluctant to sort of have a relationship with her, and they don't hit it off on the right foot. But the way that Abby she just plants herself in his life and just, this is good. This is really good. Now we're gonna get into the top 5 books. So like best of the best. Well, these 7 are the best of the best, but top 5 is like, they're up there. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is book 2 in the Rose Hill series. Wild Love, funny enough, was on my worst books of the year. This one, best books of the year, okay? Weston, and Skylar. Whew, I loved them. I loved them. West was just the perfect hero. He is single father, and the way that he just had this lightness to him, I freaking loved it, because Skylar is a pop star and she's in Rose Hill for very specific reasons. You know, she wants to get away, and she goes to the small town and she meets this single dad who has 2 kids and he's a soccer coach, and she just kind of learns how to live a normal life, which she's never really done before. And West just shows her, you deserve more than what you have been getting. And like, just, and he really shows her to kind of take control of her own life. Like, it is okay to do that. I loved them. I loved them so freaking much. This book, after Wild Love, I needed this book. This really felt like Elsie. Whereas Wild Love, I'm like, what is this? And even Hopeless, I was kind of let down by Hopeless too. So this one, I'm like, thank God, because Elsie is my girl, and I didn't want to like not like 3 of her books in a row. So please, yeah, give this one a go if you haven't. I loved it. I did. Okay, then this one's probably going to be no surprise either. Play Along by Liz Tomforty. This is, what book are you? Book 4 in the Windy City series. We're following Isaiah Rhodes and Kennedy. This is baseball romance. He falls first. He's been pining over Kennedy since she has worked for the team, but she's always been in a relationship. Beginning of this book, that relationship ends and he's like, yeah, I want you. We're gonna be together. Kennedy's like, no, I don't think so. But they end up getting married after a drunken night in Vegas. And they want to make it work. Isaiah is desperate to make it work. And Isaiah Rhodes, I don't know if he beats Kai, but he's up there. He is up there. He so freaking good. Such a good hero. I adored him. Adored him so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. Top 3. These are all going to be historical fictions, and they're not going to be a surprise to any of you because I've talked about them. I think I've vlogged at least 2 of these, and you all got to see me like just sob on camera over 2 of these books. And the first one is The Women by Kristen Hanna. This is her newest release. We are following Frankie. Now, Frankie comes from a very wealthy family, and her brother actually joins, it's either the Army or the Navy during the Vietnam War, and he ends up passing, and she decides that she wants to do more to help her country. So she trains to be a nurse, and then she ends up joining the Army. And it is following her story through Vietnam and the war and the things that the troops had to endure while they were there. You also see other nurses who she just becomes really, really good friends with, and the things that all of them have to go through. And then after the war, and when she gets back, America did not take too well to this war and the people who fought in this war. And to see that, how she was treated when she came home and everything that she was dealing with was so eye-opening, and just such, I feel like a broken record, but this was such a good book. Like, so freaking good, okay? I sobbed. The things that Frankie goes through, so realistic. It's, I mean, you see the high highs, the low lows, and everything in between. This book will rip you apart. It will rip you apart. And another book that will absolutely rip you apart, The Nightingale, again by Kristen Hanna. This one is a World War II historical fiction, and we are following 2 sisters. This one is set in a very small town in France, and one of these sisters in here, she is a mother of 2, and her husband actually just went off to fight in the war for France. And you follow her younger sister, who is very much like a free spirit. She is sort of rebellious and she wants to help France fight against the Nazis. And so you're following these two. You have the mother who is just trying to do what she can to survive and trying to do what she can for her children. And then you have her sister who is like, screw this, I'm going to go out and I'm going to fight this. So to see them like in these two different perspectives and their two different sort of takes on how they want to handle things, I really, really loved that. But then also you get these sisters who haven't necessarily had the best relationship throughout their life learn how to become sisters and learn how to accept each other for who they are. Beautiful. There's love stories in here. There is just everything you can imagine in here. Again, have your tissues ready. This book will tear you apart, rip your heart out, gutted. But I loved every second of it. This is a new favorite book of all time. Not just of the year, of all time. And my number one top read of 2024, The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer. Oh my God. This book. I cannot stop thinking about this book. It is just on repeat in my mind over and over and over. We're following Alina and Alice, and this is in two different timelines. You have 1940s, or maybe it's like late 1930s in Warsaw, Poland, before the Nazis come and take over. And so you're following Alina in that time and how her family is dealing with it and how she gets out of Warsaw. And then you have present day Alice, who her grandmother is not doing well and she wants to finally tell her life story and how she came to the United States and just the truth of things and what she went through. And you figure out how their stories are intertwined. Another one that will rip your heart out, but another one that is just so powerful. The things that you will do for love, the things that you will sacrifice for love. Please, if you are a historical fiction fan and you haven't read this, what are you doing? Please pick it up. And maybe if you just want to try out a different genre, if you want to try historical fiction for the first time, this is it. This is it. Okay. Another one that is not just a favorite of the year, it is a new favorite of all time. So freaking good. So freaking good. Okay, so that is all for today's video. If you have made it to this point and you'd like to let me know, leave me a blue heart in the comments, or tell me what your number one favorite read of the year is. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.